Welcome into the latest episode of the Betting the Pitch college basketball podcast. It's called The Need for Seeds, and I'm here with at Big East Ben. He's 10-0 in the NCAA tournament so far. This incredible run. Hoping to see it continue even further. We found that we're at the Phoenix airport and we have different terminals, so we are recording in a very interesting place. But might as well do it here. We got one game to go through, the National Championship 2024, live from Phoenix or Glendale, somewhere nearby. At Big East Ben, how are you feeling about tonight?
Feeling good. It's great to be live with everybody in this phone booth. We are on top of a phone bouncing Griffin's monitor. But yeah, it's been good. Final Four, best sporting event I've ever been to in my life. If you have never been to one, I hope you have the means to do so. It is so choice. The energy, the mayhem. Games weren't even that great last night, and I still had a blast. So got to go to Final Four next year. San Antonio, see everyone there.
Yeah, we'll see y'all there. It was pretty close, I think, considering it, very, I think, entertaining. Very entertaining despite the difficulties for the underdogs to actually cover. Two favorites winning, big favorites at that. But still, we made it. And since that number is not cooperating, I'll find it here. Don't worry. But we're gonna go through the national championship game. We'll give out best bets, of course, end of show, pick side and total. So there's only one game left to go. It's probably gonna be a brief episode, especially considering we're recording in the middle of an airport. But we're looking at Purdue, a 6.5-point underdog. Looks like total is 145.5 right now. You don't have to make your pick yet. That's later in the show. But
Yeah.
an idea where you think. What do you think about this game?
It feels like a fair line. It feels like a fair line. I feel like this line respects both Purdue's amazing team they have, the accomplishments they've made thus far in the tournament, and then it also respects UConn's absolute evisceration of opponents. We saw last night, folks. Alabama's shot 49% from three. They were like 75%
In the first half.
in the first half. And UConn, it was never really a game. It was a matter of whether they would cover or not. They did. Hurley is on a warpath here. So yeah, I mean, I think as college basketball fans, we have the best possible outcome in terms of a national championship game.
Yeah, we were gonna hang out. If a couple of the parlays hit last night, we might have stayed a little bit longer, but we were back to our homes, but we promised you an episode from the wherever we're gonna do it in Phoenix, but apparently it's the Phoenix Airport, PHX Sky Harbor, if you're in the know. If you're not following us yet, please make sure you subscribe on the Real _ G Warner on YouTube. Hit 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Be huge for our search rankings as we get ready for we're gonna do one sign-off episode after this national championship run, hopefully to celebrate at Big East Bend, going 11 straight best bets across the entire NCAA tournament. Hope you've been following along with that. It's been a great run, and we'll keep it going. My biggest question is, as we have airline announcements going off in the background, everything is really subject to enforcement. But my biggest question is for you at Big East Bend, how do you think the Zach Edey Donovan Clingan matchup will go?
Someone's looking for the mom. So it was interesting, Griffin. In the NC State game, Zach Edey's hand somehow turned to stone. I've had more confidence in Toddler's ability to post up than Zach Edey did against NC State. It was weird. It was bizarre. And once it's around his ankles, there's no chance he's getting it back. So if you fumble once, that ball is on the ground and lost. So yeah, that has me very concerned. Clingan seemed to have really more influence this game on the defensive end. He swatted the crap out of some NC State looks at the hoop.
Alabama, yeah.
Alabama looks at the hoop. Sorry, same colors. It was a long night. Great night, long night.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, it's gonna be an awesome matchup. I think Clingan can bother Edey because I have seen lesser forces bother Edey this season.
NC State included. So my interest going into this game was hoping that UConn would be a slight favorite, but seeing 6.5 5.5. I think it opened on the first number we heard walking out of the stadium last night. Got up to 7 at one point. We're back to 6.5, but it's very juiced at the moment at Bet Online, Sportsbetting.ag as well. If you're not a member there, go make a first time deposit. Get a link in the promo code on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, wherever you're listening, and go sign up for first time deposit. Get some better juice for baseball season, and make sure you follow my Patreon, patreon.com/realingeorgiewarner. So I guess we've talked about the big guys. What about the guard matchup? Do we think that the maturity of the Purdue backcourt will make an impact in this matchup against a really dominant Connecticut guard group that doesn't really have a big name in it?
Braden Smith had a really tough game last night. I know he made a few, but overall, kind of disappointing game from him. Fletcher Lawyer showed out when he had to. Give the big 3 at the end of the first half to catch that first half cover. Some of you folks were on. So yeah, I mean, I am impressed with the Purdue guards, but I don't think it's enough forces. It's not enough forces to come back to catch up to Newton. It's not enough forces to catch up to Spencer. And with this guy, Castle, Stefan Castle, 21 points.
NBA prospect. They were not guarding for the first 10 minutes of the game, it seems.
Gave him the Stephen Mitchell treatment. He made them pay. I mean, if this guy's clicking, watch out, because UConn was unbeatable before. Stefan Castle putting up 20 plus points is just further solidifying.
Maybe that's why they got covered last night. Okay, so I mean, clearly the UConn guards are much bigger. Seemingly, my bigger question, because we saw Zach Edey play 40 minutes in the Final Four last night. Can you do that again against Klingon and Samson Johnson? Because I feel like the Purdue starting lineup with starting basically 2 bigs at 4 and the 5 positions. I don't know that UConn's really played that way this whole time. I feel like Caravan is kind of a perimeter shooter as a big guy playing the 4, kind of out of position a little bit. Trey Kaufman-Wren, I think, is starting for Purdue and has started for this entire tournament so far. Do you think that might mean Edey plays a little bit off the ball down low, and that there's potentially some concern for UConn's interior defense that's not running through Donovan Klingon, 7'2"?
No, I mean, I don't think Kaufman can screw things up. I mean, the UConn defense has played against much bigger, 4 and 5s in the Big East, namely St. John's. I don't think that the clean factor on defense, his wingspan will not only neutralize Edey, it will break down those Lawyer drives, it will break down those Smith drives. Klingon does a good job of staying out of foul trouble. I saw this 3 times against Marquette. The guy didn't pick up his first foul until the last 10 minutes of the second half. I don't think Klingon goes to the bench with foul trouble in this game. Yes, if Edey gets significant minutes on Samson Johnson, that is a different story, but I'm not anticipating that for this game.
So we saw Edey play 40 minutes, as I just said. Klingon definitely substituting quite a bit. And that's probably a big question with foul calls. NCAA tournament championship, after we saw in the women's Final Four, someone needs Aaron O'Brien at Scar. And we got a lot of really good local restaurants. I would love to plug them, but they haven't contacted.
If anyone knows any good restaurants in Terminal F?
Yes, F is in Frank.
Gate F, let me know.
Yes. Please slide in DMs immediately at the Spin on Twitter or at the @real_Warner on any sort of platform. So if you are, I guess, talking about fouls, we saw a moving screen called in the Final Four, the women's Final Four on Friday night.
Good call.
I think it's a good call as well. Not a lot of foul calls this weekend.
Can't set a screen like that.
I think it was more the move, the shuffle into it, but whatever.
Yeah, you can't do this.
You can't. We're demonstrating for everyone. But I think I'm questioning, just in a title game, do we expect less fouls to be called? Who does that benefit?
UConn. I mean, UConn wants to get more of a pace game. Purdue wants to grind this out, stop the UConn from doing the UConn thing. If you can get a foul,
what is the UConn thing?
The UConn thing is the 30-0 run against Illinois. The UConn thing is going from tied 18-18 against Marquette at the XL Center, and then I think winning the half by 16, and then extending the run into the second half to go up by 28. That is the UConn thing. The UConn thing is always there. We kind of got a semi UConn thing in the Alabama game. That
covering the Alabama game was pretty incredible at that. I mean, was a game at halftime. We're favored by more than 10 points and still somehow covered the spread because UConn only covers at this point.
Only covers.
The only person that covers more than UConn, I think, is at Big East Ben, was 10-0 on this tournament. Or correct me, was UConn a little bit longer of a streak? When was the last time UConn?
If UConn has covered last,
they covered
every game
of this tournament.
That's 11. So yeah.
Okay, so I bet it's one behind UConn, and maybe we'll see at the end of the show if
I'll catch them next year. I'll catch them next year. Yeah,
okay, next year. So that means first round next year they're not going to cover.
Danny Hurley, show this to your team.
Yeah. Andrea, say what's up. Hey, how's it going? So I think before we get into our best bets, is there anything else you want to talk about with the game? I mean, maybe the experience, your first Final Four. You went to a little bit earlier, but you'd rather be doing a lot more on the first Saturday in April, right?
Yeah, just seeing basketball in a football stadium, it just takes your breath away. It is one of the most unbelievable things just to see the expanse around the court.
Like people keep going. Like
and you look up, and Purdue fans brought it. Purdue fans absolutely
all
brought
day
it
today too. Yeah,
by far the most fans we've seen on this trip are Purdue. UConn had a good presence, very corporate. All like the UConn like bars they rent out. It's very clean, and they have like a very clean, business like.
When I think UConn, I think clean.
And then Purdue, Purdue's a little sloppy. They probably got a lot of like wing sauce on their shirt, but yeah, they're good people too, and we've had a great time hanging out.
I don't know if I agree with that. I think the UConn side is probably the angrier of the group. We were actually waiting at the Huss bar earlier today and waiting from the bathroom line. Purdue fans, and they expected the UConn supporters to be in the bathroom gelling their hair. That's why it was taking so long. So maybe a little rivalry already started, but feels like all of West Lafayette, Indiana, and anyone who's related to Purdue has come down for the first run in a while. UConn, of course, won the championship last year. They've been around it a lot more and had a lot more success in recent years. So we'll see how that ends up turning out. I don't think there's a ton of decent Alabama showing, I think.
Not really.
NC State had a lot in that first.
They did.
That first
should have.
Yeah, they did. And a ton of random Creighton fans and other things like that as well, walking around the.
A lot of Jayhawks. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, a lot of Hunter.
Maybe next year.
A lot of Hunter Dickinson fans out there too. But I guess it's probably time to get into our ultimate best bet. We're going to give side and total as we did for the Final Four. I think I hit both unders, and I think I split the sides. So 3-1 was decent enough for me. Big East Ben at 10-0 on his best bets across our March Madness episodes. Hopefully you all loved them. Please slide in our Twitter comments or anywhere. Leave some 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. It'd be huge for our search rankings because we've been grinding, to say the least. And we look forward to doing it again for all of you next year as well. But I guess it's time to get into an ultimate best bet portion of this show. Do you have, so we can cut it into reels? I'll make another video, I guess.
Do I use my phone?
Yeah, let's use your phone. My phone, unfortunately, I'm so out of everything at this point. So we're gonna go cut a minute video. We'll do both of us, like just as we did the other episode. All right, so let's go. This is a beautiful view. Let's start with I'll lead us in and I'll give it to you. So this is the real underscore G Warner. This is Betting the Pitch, the Need for Seats College Basketball Podcast. We are going to we're at the championship. We're in the airport, leaving the championship. But we have at Big East Ben. He's gone 10-0, his 10 best bets throughout all of our NCAA tournament podcasts. Who is your best bet, side and total? But we got one pick for the best bet. End of show.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. UCONN. UConn. -6.5. Nothing stopping Hurley. I also like the over in this game, over 145.5.
All right. So you just heard at Big East Ben 10-0 on his best bets this NCAA tournament. I will not go the other way, but I do like under 145.5. So grab UConn -6.5, under 145.5, a low scoring UConn victory, and that'll get our best bets done for this final episode of 2024 until we get into the post math after season episode on Betting Pitch Podcast Network. And that'll do it for this last episode. I guess
Well, we'll have a recap episode.
We'll have it. So last episode before the games end. So just to give our 4 picks, I'm gonna go Purdue plus 6.5, and I'll take under 145.5.
UConn minus 6.5, over 145.5.
All right, so we are
Best
going
bet
different
UConn.
directions. Best bet UConn 10-0 at Big East Bend so far. Make sure you follow him on Twitter, Instagram, wherever he's going. I don't know if he has the Instagram yet, but we'll sign up sooner rather than later. We'll have some good surprises for you all next season. And thank you for tuning in for an entirely long season, but a great one. And the first one. See you later.